I'm in now.
You're in now.
Sorted. Here we go again, Mikey. So, for those of you who watch the instalments of the black Mark 8 ST Fiesta that we've done the big brake kit on and a few other bits and pieces. So, from the same family, from up Leicester they are. So they travel a fair old way, which is very humbling for them to do so. We appreciate that. So this is the Mark 3 Focus RS, which belongs to them. So me and Mike's, we have had it here for a week or two and we just investigating things. So we had a good look. Usual thing, leaking oil from wherever. Thought it was to do with the feed pipe. That isn't the case, Mikey, is it? So we put it up on the ramp and it only took us like 10 minutes to find it, didn't it?
Yeah, not long when you know where you're looking.
Yeah, so we got up there with the camera and straight away I said to Mikey, right, it's leaking from higher up. So it's possible that it can be leaking from the feed pipe and the timing chain cover and the head gasket can be leaked from any of them. So we've investigated further and it's higher up. All right, so that tells you that it's not from the feed pipe. We recommend change feed pipe anyway, Mikey, didn't we, to our upgraded one, which is much better than the banjo fitment to the block. Because once you disturb these, and when they do them on the recall, even when they put a new one on, they still want to start leaking from there. But anyway, that's a different story. This is leaking from higher up.
Head gasket, isn't it?
Yeah, so we investigate. So it's the same as the white one that we're doing the build on, and from the same area. So unfortunately for him, that's bad news because that means that the head's going to have to come off it. If it was just the timing cover, it's not. It is still a big job because it's like doing the timing chain, but not doing the timing chain. If you know what I mean.
I think we've got some videos.
We've got a video which we'll post up as well.
We can insert it into this.
We will.
Because you can, like, we've got like a camera on a wire, we can put right up the back, and you can actually see where the head gasket's bubbling.
Yeah.
And we can.
Of course, it shouldn't be doing that. So that's where your oil's coming from.
There, it's bubbling now.
So
right where the black bit.
See that? This is it. Got the head gasket.
There, it's doing it
See it
now.
bubbling? Right there, look. Right in the middle.
Just as where the black bit of the head gasket is.
Yeah, you can see it bubbling, look. So, let's just see if we can get it to do it again, Mikey. So that's the same as the white one, the head gasket. There you go. There you go. So the head gasket, where it's mated to the block, and you've got the head on top. That's where it is. So it could be a combination of the timing cover. Well, that's got to come off anyway.
Well,
but
yeah.
So that's what's happening there. Same as the other one, Mikey, innit?
Yeah.
Where
it's not bubbling in exactly the same place.
No.
But it's only an inch away from where it was.
Over a period of time, that's oil that's bubbling through. It's coming down.
You can see if I pull it back a little bit. 1 second.
Bubbling at all.
There's the oil. Look.
See that? There's the oil. Look, it's coming
That's
down.
that big dollop there. Look.
That's it. That's it. I mean, that's it, because we could stand there all day, like in your arms,
Yeah.
And obviously it gets hot, and then it's down, trickles down, drips down. And the biggest mistake people make is they put it up on the ramp, they don't investigate it properly, they don't clean it all off and find out where it's leaking. Oh my God, there's a drip from the feed pipe to the block. It must be leaking from the feed pipe. I've said this many times before. It could be leaking from there, but if it's leaking from higher up, the oil doesn't run upwards, does it? That's the laughable bit, Mikey, isn't it?
I think the confusing bit is where it leaks from the head gasket, or where we've seen them leak from the head gasket, it actually runs onto that feed pipe.
Yeah, of course
from
it
the
does.
turbo.
Yeah, it naturally drips down onto there, doesn't it?
Because they're not cleaning it and looking properly, they're not seeing that it's coming from above.
They're not seeing it, no. So that's just total lack of preparation, I'm sorry to say, on the dealer part, which we get it all the time. The other thing, which is when they put it back together, they put it back bone dry, and they're relying solely on the sealant, which is on the gasket, on the multi-layer steel gasket. All right, it's got the black sealant on it. That's basically a sealant to seal the block to the head. All right, you've got to go further beyond that. That's not sufficient enough. So you have to introduce another form of enhanced sealant, like in it, to do it. And that's what we do. So we've always done it for years, and we've never had an issue. So this car, we'll be taking it apart. I'm going to double check it now. There's one other thing we need to discuss before, apart from the oil leak, like in it.
Yeah.
So this has got uneven, unsteady revving. It
doesn't idle smoothly.
No, intermittently it's going up and it's coming down and it's going up, and then when you drive it, sometimes it'll want to cut out, don't cut out, and then it's quite intermittent. What we just experienced it, and we'll insert that little bit as well. So we just experienced it. Me just bringing it in now, and it started doing it. Yeah, Mike. Yeah. No, it should be doing that. We'll soon find out what's causing that, and whether my theory is right about the engine timing being out. So let's see, shall we? So I don't need to take it out for a drive, and I'm quite confident that it's the same as the other nitrous fluid we done, Mikey, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Same sort of problem. That was a bit worse with regards to this engine timing issue. So whether it would be the cam out, the inlet cam, the exhaust cam, the trigger on the pulley for the crank, we don't know. So I'll be timing all this up, and then I can see whether I'll be really surprised if the timing's okay. Because the car was perfect before it went in for the recall, no issues. It's got Regal Stage 1 on it, but that doesn't matter. That's got nothing to do with the way it runs. It was running perfectly fine before on stock. As soon as it went in for the recall and come back out, these problems started, and he's been told that that's just the way it is, that's what they do, and there's nothing you can do about it. A bit like the leak. Somebody told him that, yeah, they leak and there's nothing you can do about it, it's impossible to stop it. Well,
it didn't leak when it was new.
It didn't leak when it came out of the factory, Mikey, that's absolutely
and
right.
It ran smooth when it came out of the factory.
And it ran smooth, so that sort of like do your maths in it. If it was perfect, they say they don't come from Ford running like that, they don't come from Ford leaking oil from the wherever, the timing chain cover or the head gasket, do they? They don't.
It's laughable, isn't it?
Yes, but
that's what
we hear it so much. So we'll do our investigations, we'll go through it, we'll, you know, let you guys and girls know what we're up to and all that sort of stuff as we go. And yeah, it's just unfortunate we've got to take the head off. It could all be avoided if they just done it properly, but you know, that's just the way it is, isn't it? Just
makes you wonder as well when they're doing these head gaskets, are they having them skimmed or are they just putting the right gasket on and banging them back on?
No chance. I can tell you, no chance. They're just a quick old, yeah, that'll do, innit? Let's give that one a look. He looks alright, so he's done 10,000 miles or whatever it is, yeah, chuck him back on, he's fine.
Wipe off and whack it back on.
Yeah, exactly. But, and then you're now at this stage, isn't it, where you've got to, it's all got to be taken apart again. But at least this time it'll be done correctly. And then we'll document everything for him. So,
here we go again.
Crazy, innit? This one, I got the engine to build on that other one as well with the yellow one, yellow block.
Yellow block.
Not yellow car.
Yellow
white car.
Yeah. You better get
Mikey painted that one, didn't you, Mikey?
Yeah.
We got loads. Yeah, it's just, yeah. We need to get on with stuff, don't we? Because it's gonna go on and on and on now, isn't it, Mikey?
It is.
Yeah. Like I can't say it, can you really? I'll say like a record. Yeah. Stock record.
Woman.
No, you can't say that, Mikey.
No good?
That was on the tip of my tongue.
Oh.
You're not allowed to say it because Laura's right behind us, and she will. Yeah. She'd actually, to be honest, she would agree with us and say that's absolutely correct. So, but no.
A lot of them won't, will they?
No.
Sorry, I retract that statement.
You have to, mate, or else you will be getting a letter through the post, solicitor's letter through the post. Right, summoned to court.
Perfect.
Right, mate?
Yeah.
Right, Mikey, we continue. So now we're at the stage on the Mark 3 Focus RS. So I've obviously drained all the oil out of it, popped the new oil filter on because we're doing that anyway. We're changing doing a service on it as well. Drained all the coolant out because we're going to be taking the head off it, but nowhere near that stage at the moment. So the first thing to do because the car was running, and you'll see it on the little clip that we done. So the car's perfect from factory, it's had it from brand new. All right, so no oil leaks, no running issues, no idling issues, absolutely fine. Took it back for the recall, whatever dealer he took it to, I don't know. I mean, that's neither here, nothing to do with us, is it? I mean, I'm not really interested in any of that. They're all the same anyway. So you took it back to them. They've done the head gasket recall and, you know, put it all back together. And ever since then, he's had this issue where it's hunting and the aisle's not right, and it's, you know, not the same car as it was when he took it in. And he's got the oil leak, the notorious oil leak from, we've already discussed that, whether it's from the timing chain cover, whether it's from the feed pipe from the block, which is possible, or is it from the head gasket? You know, who knows? This one's from the head gasket, by the way, and there's a little weep from the timing cover as well, but it's from the head gasket, Mikey, most of it, isn't it?
Most of it, yeah.
So I've got to the stage now where I've just pinned the crank, and you've got the hole for the trigger on the pulley, which I'll show you in a second, on the crank pulley, which is when you put everything should line up. So when number 1 and 4 is at TDC and you've got it on the pinned on the crank, you should be able to lock this tool in. All right, so this is the timing tool. You should be able to lock this in. All right, so on the slots on the end of the right. So I'll take that out. Look, there's the slot on the end of the inlet camlet. They're purely just to locate the tool in. Right, that's all it's for. Doesn't do anything else. That's all it's for. And the same one with that one. Look, yeah, this one's obviously longer on the exhaust because it runs the DI pump via the camlet over there. But there's a slot there. All right, so what should happen is you should be able to slot that in like that, right? And obviously it's designed so you've got a bolt that goes in there. That's not a bolt, it's this one here, look. So that there sits in there, right?
Won't,
I won't, but that sits in there, right? It's supposed to go in there, right? But it won't go in there because it's not locked in, is it? Right, so that's no good. And then if you can see it, look, you can clearly see that it's out. I can't get that tool in there. I can't get it in there. And that's quite significant, Mikey, isn't it?
Yeah.
Not just a little bit. That's out. So there's your first
There's
problem.
a tolerance in the slot in the end of the cam.
Yeah.
And we're further out than the tolerance allows.
So the problem is we got here, it's very, very, it's critical. Engine timing is critical on any car, but more so on these because it's all variable valve timing, and that's how it works. It needs to be absolutely bang on. The correlation between the camshafts and the crankshaft, where they're talking to each other, has got to be perfect. All right, the biggest problem that I see is I don't need to lock in the cranks there, the flywheel at the moment, because I'm just checking the timing. When you do that crank pulley up, all right, it's friction held. So you've got 2 friction washers either side of the crank pulley, right, on the crank, and you cream it up, and obviously they compress them, right, and that's how it holds it. That's what stops it from spinning. There's no keyway. There's no like on the Mark IIs. There's a rope in. There's none of that. It's just the same as the ST180s. It's just the compression fit pulley, Mikey, in it with the friction washers. The friction washers go in the bin. You replace them. They've modified the crank sprocket now, which is the crank sprocket is obviously it's a twin tooth sprocket which runs the main timing chain and the oil pump chain. All right, so they've modified that, so they've sort of like grooved it all the way around on either side, so it gives it more grip on the friction washers, whereas before it was smooth. So they've had issues where the crank pulley is spun or moved, so they've obviously that's the solution that they come up with, and the best solution is to keyway the crank. But this is on this, can't do it on this. If you build in your own specification, I can supply an arrow crank that's keywayed. Of course I can, but this is not, obviously this is all standard, isn't it, the way it's running. So that wouldn't apply to this. But anyway, so that's that, right? So then if we come down here, Mikey, I don't know if it's easy to put the, well, yeah, we can do it, can we? Don't need to put the ramp up, do we? Right, so here, look, this is your locator hole, and there's a threaded hole on the timing chain cover in behind, Mikey.
Yeah, you can nearly see how it's like half a hole out.
Yeah, so if I try and put this in there, look, now that's locked up against the crank, right? No chance. I can't catch that. So that's out as well. So the trigger's out and the cam's out. Cams. Hey, Mikey?
Yep.
So it's not good all the way around. So on the crank pulley as well, there's 20 teeth. All right. So from 12 o'clock at the top, 20 teeth down, and you should be able to get there's a attachment here, which now that, so 20 teeth down, that should sit in the teeth. All right. So there's your crankshaft sensor here. It's a bit crankshaft sensor's there. Look, right. That's where it sits. Look, in one of the teeth. All right. So I can get that in the teeth, all right, but that ain't exactly 20 teeth. So it will go in one, but it's on the wrong tooth because it needs to be moved. That crank pulley obviously needs to be more, well, turned anti-clockwise a bit to get this lined up, and then the trigger's going to line up in it properly on the bottom. But we've seen it time and time again, Mikey, haven't we?
Yeah, it's not the first one.
It's the same as that other blue one we done, wasn't it?
Yeah.
The same sort of, so I knew exactly what it was. As soon as he complained about it running and the idling and the power delivery, they don't feel the same, don't behave the same. And there we are. So the head's coming off anyway because we've got to sort this air gasket problem out, Mikey, haven't we?
Yep.
And then what we'll do then is we won't put the standard bolts back. We'll ARP stud it. We give him the option, and he said, "Yeah, just do that." You might as well. It just clamps it better. And then we'll use a standard multi-layer forward gasket on it. We'll do our little trick on the sealant side of things, which we don't really tell. I'm not telling everybody how to do it. Work it out for yourselves, isn't that right, Mikey?
More than welcome to bring him here and we'll do them for him.
You can bring it here and I'll do it for you, but I'm not telling you what me and Mikey do on that. You can say work it out for yourselves, isn't it? I'm afraid. That's fair enough, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Don't give too many secrets away, do we? Hey?
You can buy the secret.
You can buy it, yeah.
A lot of money though, isn't it?
We haven't worked out how much it's going to be yet, have we?
It's going to be strong, isn't it?
Super strong money, isn't it? But
cheaper to just bring it here and we'll do the car for you.
Absolutely. Yeah, it costs you less to do that.
Yeah.
Than the other route. And that's it, Mikey, isn't it? So we're going to crack on and rip the old head off, aren't we?
Get it apart.
You're doing old Roberts there, aren't you?
Yep.
Cracking on with that, so we'll tell you a bit more about that later, but we're nearly done here tonight anyway. We might catch a little bit of the sun still, Mikey, innit?
Yeah, it's getting on for 7 o'clock, I think.
Yeah, so carry on later. Ciao. We continue, Mikey, on the Mark 3 Focus RS that we talked about. Watch the, if you've been following this one, this is the one where me and Mikey checked it and it's leaking from the head gasket to the block, isn't it, Mikey?
Yep.
So we decided to take it apart, spoke to the customer, and then we showed you that the timing was out. We've showed you that on the cams and the trigger. So sent him a little video, Mikey, didn't we?
Yeah. Explaining
what's what. I knew it was that anyway because it's just classic symptoms of what he was explaining with it, not idling properly, and it's not, performance is not there like it was before. And that only happens after the recall, the leak, the timing being out. Well, we know it's out now, but the poor running, and it's all to do with after the recall, isn't it? So I can't really comment on that. You know, make your own sort of like assumptions on that, Mikey, innit?
Great word.
You like that one, didn't you? Or I pulled that one out of the dictionary this morning. But yeah, as you can see, all we've done is just so it's all apart, heads off it. The heads, we got the head back now. So our good friend, one of our technical partners, Pete Willis, great guy, one of the best. Well, I just think he's the best full stop at what he does, full engineering, and then obviously the engine does do engine builds, but he does the all the engineering side of it. It's different to what Julian does, different type of engineering, little Mikey in it.
Yeah, he's
Julian,
more welder.
Yeah, Julian's more fabrication side, where Pete is more on the engine side. He used to work
and stuff.
Yeah, but he used to work for Heart Racing. You know, and they were the ones obviously involved with the RS200 and stuff like that. So yeah, going by that tells you what sort of experience he has. So anyway, so that's that. And prep all that. the head's back, that's been resurfaced, done. There's only hardly anything off, you know,
and that's whisker,
half a thousand, something like that. But it's got to be done. We've got to make sure that it's dead true. That's dead true. That's all spot on. We've got all the bits and pieces to put it back together now from Ford. Obviously, I don't reuse. I don't know what mileage this is done. Like it's like 15,000, something like that.
Something like that. Yeah.
Doesn't matter about the mileage. The white one out there has only done 5,000 miles, but we don't reuse the timing chain or the guides or anything like that. That goes in the bin. So whilst it's apart, why would you put on the existing parts back on? Doesn't matter.
New head gasket, or will it go again?
Go again, money. So right there, look, we can put the head gasket. You can go again, money.
Yeah, just fire that one back on, innit?
Yeah. Now, interestingly, what we found out was, blimey, what an increase in price on that head gasket, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I can believe it. Like 3 times the money now for a genuine Ford multi-litre steel head gasket to last time when I done one of these.
Which wasn't that long ago, probably
12 months ago or something.
Less than that, I reckon. 6
it's
months.
Crazy how that's rocketed up. But anyway, I only fit a genuine. It's more expensive than an aftermarket one, so it's more expensive than an Athena or a Cometic. But I'd always go for the standard OE steel cap. They're the quality is, well, yeah, second to none. It's the one to put on there, isn't it? Not the key in it.
Yeah.
Then you know, then it's you got the confidence there, haven't you? So that's that side of it. Got all the bits and pieces. Yeah.
Just changing the head bolts, aren't we? That's
we're putting that. So over here, look. Yep. So taking notice of him, he's doing nothing as normal. Oh, hi mate.
Probably eating, isn't he?
Oh.
I know he's not eating.
So anyway, so like Mike said, we swap out the original OE bolts. We don't want to be putting them in anymore. You could, but I always recommend that you opt for the ARP head stud kit, which is these. All right, so what we do is we've got a specific chaser that we run down through to make sure all the threads are nice and clean. Didn't get it from ARP actually, did we?
Made it ourselves, didn't we?
Got Julian to fab him up for us, didn't we? So Julian done that, done a pro form. And yeah, you got can't beat a bit of lube.
Don't want to.
Isn't that look? It's like,
don't want to put them in dry, do you?
Come on, mate. I'm on a video here. Oh, sorry, you're talking about the
yeah, the studs.
Fair enough.
You're the one with the.
Yeah. Good name, stud, isn't it?
That's what Martin classes himself as, a stud.
The studs don't.
We got
Don't allow the stud to go in dry, no?
We got stud.
Yeah.
And we got muffin.
Hey.
No, he's looking.
Stud. Nothing. Yeah.
He's not looking very impressed with that.
No. Food, let's see. Muffin.
Constantly on
Food.
it, he is.
6 I'll bear to take care of, yeah. Anyway, so back onto this. So we got the washers. Some used to have like an embossed like stamp on them, you know, where it's like to grip the head. They don't do it anymore, do they? Some of them do, but
well, like a locking device, sort of.
Yeah, so it's like rough on one side, isn't it? Let me show you the instructions like it is. Have a look, shall we? Oh, look. Cool, isn't it?
Matt will be on that. He likes to stick it, doesn't he?
No. So these to show you a picture of it. Yeah. So they haven't got it anyway. Some do, some don't. Anyway, so that's that. And then we got the nuts to go on the top of it. So yeah, chase that down. Make sure it's all clear. Wind them in with your fingers. Don't put any torque on them. This bit here, look. That's for taking them out with a hex inside. That's not for putting them in. So you should be able to put them in until they stop and then go back and then lock. That's it. Because when that grips, that pulls it down the rest of the way. Done, that's it. And obviously that is the lube to put the underside that we talked about. Underside of the stud, then the nut, and that's it. The thread and the nut, done. That's that side of it. Yeah, then we can put it all back together, Mikey, can we?
Yeah.
Put the timing right, Mikey.
Oh, I thought you could put it back to what it was.
I could put it back to what it was and then say to the customer, that's how it came in. I'll just put it back how it was.
Some would say that's how they run.
That's it, yeah. But it's like out of the blue one we had here, wasn't it? It's incredible. I mean, the other one, the customer didn't have it very long, so he was like, "Oh, is it supposed to run like this? I thought it was going to be a bit better than this." So different than this customer, because this customer bought this car from brand new, and he knew that there was something wrong. He knew it wasn't right, and then obviously he wasn't happy when I told him there was an oil leak. and where it was coming from, hence why we're at this stage. So we will put it right. So we'll crack on, and then I'll show you. I won't talk you through the boring bit of when I'm put all that together, but there'll be lots. We'll put some pictures up on the Instagram and all that sort of stuff, and then I'll just show you when it's completed. Then really, isn't it, Mikey?
Yeah.
No need really. The good thing about this is we don't need to put loads of test molds on it, because it's just, you know, the head rebuild of the head gasket. We haven't taken all the valve springs out. We haven't took the valves out or anything like that. No need to. So it's just a case of like, well, did we show you this before, Mike? I think we did, didn't we? There, I've just laid that out on the top of the trolley there, look. So what I do when I do it, that's how it's taken out, and I lay it out exactly how it came out, and then I number all the caps because they have to go back in the same place. You know, you got them there all numbered on the caps, and the same with the buckets, tappets, followers, whatever you want to call it. Depends on what era you're from.
Or nationality.
Yeah, that's right. That's true. So all that's going to be going back on. No problem at all with that. And then we're good to go, aren't we? So we will continue. We've now got to move on to something super special. So until the next time. Rolling away. The rolling. Yeah. Right, Mikey. Need intro, do we, or no? We're back on it, aren't we? We're back on the Mark III.
We don't need an intro halfway through, do we?
We're back on the Mark III Focus RS. For those of you who've seen the previous episode, should we call it an episode?
Installment,
yeah. But the timing on this, we found something else on the timing that was out as well, Mikey, didn't we?
Yeah.
So we already talked about the cam timing being out, engine timing, cam timing, whatever you want to call it, and the trigger being out. So when all the head's been resurfaced, done all that, our friend Pete Willis has done all that for us, put all that back together, we've put ARP studs now in it instead of the bolts. Original OE head gasket. Now they have absolutely rocketed in price, Mikey, haven't they?
Trebled, haven't they?
It's triple the price, yeah. Crazy, because obviously Mark III Focus RS on this one, because it's got the 2.3 block, it's more than three times, four times the money of a 2 litre head gasket from Ford. So that's madness. And it looks as though they've modified it again, because I noticed a few things on it which was different from the
slightly different part number as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, to the previously modified one. Because obviously, for those of you who know about these cars, and they had the head gasket issues when they're supposed to put the wrong head gasket on. I don't know. Was that the case? Who knows, Mikey, innit? What they tell you. What I can tell you is that whoever put this back together from the dealer when it went at the recall seriously needs to go and find another job to do. Different job, different profession, Mikey.
Should be working in Toys R Us building Tonka trucks, shouldn't he?
Yeah, but again, can that be done properly as well? We don't know, do we? Shocking. So when we put it all back together and started timing it up, and I thought, this chain's not sitting, I can't get the chain to sit in the right place, isn't it, Mikey? So they've obviously had the cam pulleys undone, and they've been playing around with them, which if that's the way you want to do it, you can do that if you want to. Some people do it that way. If the cams are, so like if this car came in for the routine, I don't know, if it came in for, what do we say, Mikey?
Head gasket.
Yeah, maybe if we'd done the recall, we use that as an example, should we? Then when I put it back, when you take the cams out, you don't disturb any of these, then it goes back in exactly the same position, so you shouldn't ever need to undo these. All right, the only time you need to undo them is if things are not right, which it wasn't on this one. So I couldn't get the chain, it was like a tooth and a half out on one of them. We had to move it that far to get it to sit.
Half a tooth, wasn't it?
Was it?
Yeah, it was like half a tooth, because what we had was between the two cams there where the chain sits, we had like a slack bit of chain.
Yeah.
That obviously, because the cams are locked at this end, when you tension the chain, you then can't get rid of that bit of slack. But they're a floating pulley on the end of the cam.
They're designed for you to undo them and move them.
But they must, that must be how they're doing the timing when they go to forward, is they're undoing them for some reason. Yeah,
which you don't need to do that unless we've got that issue that we've come across here.
Need for it, is there?
No, then you need to do it. So we've had to settle that up, and now this is how it should be. So we've now timed it up, and we've done
what did we loosen off? inlet.
We've done the inlet, yeah. 'cause
Inlet
easier
cam,
to
'cause
get
it's easier to get to.
on the holding it with the spanner on there. It's easier to get on that because if you took all the scuttle off, then yes,
Yeah.
but we don't need to. Again, you're just creating more work for you. So you don't need to take this off.
So we undone the exhaust one.
Yeah, just drop the motor down a bit, didn't we?
Retimed the cams with putting the plate back in the back, because you always take that out if you're doing anything to the camshaft bolts. You always take this plate out because it's only held in with these bits.
Yeah, that's just the locator, and these bits on the end are purely all they're for is just so you can put that tool in the back.
There's no structure to them
No,
at all.
that wasn't there in the matter. There's no bearing on the.
They're not very strong, so you can't be doing the cams up using that tool.
No,
that's
right.
why they put
these nuts on there, and then you need somebody of your power and strength, Mikey, to hold it while we do that one up, because that was, what was it, 40 newton meters, and then
60 degrees.
60 degrees, something like that.
Yeah,
which
so
is a fair bit.
quite tight.
Yeah, so that's that. So the plates in the back. So the first thing you do is obviously modding 4 at TDC, and then you've got the pin in the back of the locator of the block, which then sits against the crank, locks up against the crank, and then we've got our own tool which we've had made to hold the flywheel, because it's a floating, as these are, the crank's floating as well. So there's no way, unless you lock that in, there's no way that you can get, you've got to do that up to 100 newton meters, which is what we do to test it, isn't it, Mikey? And then we set that up, make sure the trigger's right, and then before we then cream it up to 180 degrees. You try doing 180 degrees, how are you gonna, you can't do 180 degrees of force on that crank pulley unless you lock that flywheel in.
Yeah, if you just use the pin that goes in the back of the block,
exactly.
you're going to start bending the pin. And
so the original crankshaft sprocket, which is the floating one on the crank itself, that's been modified now, so that each end of it now is like a knurled effect, Mikey, in it. It's like grooved. So then you've got the friction washer which goes each side of it. That is the only thing that stops that crank pulley from spinning on that crankshaft. That's it. There's no keyway. So that's why it's really important. So now we've turned this over loads and loads of times, and the timing just goes straight in. And then the other end of it, Mikey, so that's that end of it. So the other end of it is down here, look, which is, the lights are already, so this is on the crank side of it, and this is the, in here, look, so where this Allen key bolt is, look, right, so that Allen key bolt, you know, so this one here, look, Mike, that's so this Allen key bolt, so that there picks up and screws into and secures it to the actual timing cover. There's a thread in there, and that's your trigger. So from the top, it's 20 teeth down, and if I don't know if you can see where I've marked it, Mike, with the yellow chalk. See the yellow chalk?
Yeah.
On that. So that's the 20 teeth down. So counting from the top, it's 20 teeth down, right? And then that is in the correct position. So we've got the tool, which I'll go and grab it, like, you know, so it's just interesting in it to show you how it works. See? So that's 20 teeth down. Can't even see it, is that on the right?
Yeah, it's a bit awkward, there's not a lot of room in there, is there?
No. So that is the tool, right? So that's on 20 teeth down, right? And that's how you lock it in. So that's got to be bang on. All right. So all the top's got to be bang on. That's got to be locked in the pin on the crank. That's got to go back in there, look. Which it does, right? So when you do like 2 full revolutions, everything should come back to the markers. Everything should line up. That's how you know when the timing is absolutely perfect on this car. Well, on all of them. So that's not what they did. I don't know what they've done, but they didn't do it like that. So we see it all the time, like, isn't it? We were talking, weren't we? How many, going by this, and it's not the first one I've seen many, how many of these cars are running around with, and the owner's not aware that the timing's out, they're not running properly, and it's been completely hashed up by whatever dealer, because it's only the dealers that done the recall, so just completely hashed up in it. So,
and all the ones that we've seen pretty much with timing faults have all got oil leaks as well.
They got the oil leak, yeah. And again, so the timing cover, that's all cleaned up, so it's mint, and then the correct forward sealant, and you've got to apply the correct amount in the correct place around the border of the timing cover. You've got to put it in the right place, and you've got to get that fitted up within 10 minutes, and then what you don't do is start chucking oil in it straight away. You leave it for 24 hours and then put oil in it. And that's it. So we're going to be doing the feed pipe as well, Mikey, in it, which is this one here, look. So the adapter's already in the top of the turbo. And this is, so instead of having a, it's tough, this plastic, Mikey. Tough as old boots, isn't he? Right, so this is the feed pipe. All right, so we use the doughty washer where it goes onto the block. So this is for the fitting here, look. All right, so that's the feed pipe. So you can imagine that goes down that, goes on the top of the turbo. That screws into the block with the doughty washer, and then that screws onto there. So you haven't got that banjo where you've got a washer each side, which they do leak, but it's not a, that's not always the case, Mikey, is it? They don't, they don't all leak from there.
No.
A lot of the time they leak from, I said before, you can have it in two places. You can leak from the timing chain cover, right in the corner here, right on where the timing cover meets the top of the head. They leak there. That's the most common place, Mikey, in it. But this one was leaking, had a leak there, and it is leaking from the head gasket between the block and head.
It seems to be the same bit of the head gasket.
It wasn't leaking from the pipe. It was the drip that, said this like millions of times, it's the drip that comes down from higher up and drips onto that position, that part there, and then it's like, oh, it's leaking from there. It's not. Oil doesn't run upwards, Mikey.
Not very often.
I mean, that is pretty much common sense, isn't it? It's really common sense to know that the oil can't go upwards, can it? And it's just unfortunate for the owners, not just this owner and others, that they're not aware of it. And then when I tell them, they're like, really? Well, yeah. And then I show them, and it's because sometimes it can be, oh, well, that can't be the case. The main dealer's done it. It can't be the dealer's done it. It's the opposite way round. It is doing it because the dealer's done it. All the gear, no idea, Mikey, innit?
Oh, mate,
it's true. They've got the gear. They got no idea. I don't mind saying that. Because if I have to keep putting all these, I don't mind putting all these right in it, Mikey.
We don't want fixing their mistakes.
Their beep ups, yeah. That saves Simon, our editor, from doing that, yeah. We just done it for him, didn't we? We bleeped them right out, didn't we? That's it, Mikey. So we've got just start building it back together now with regards to the starter in and all the ancillaries on and all that sort of stuff. But that's it. I was just wanted to point that little, matter out to you with regards to these and show you what's what, and that's it. I don't understand why they get it so wrong, but I don't know.
Maybe they don't know they're getting it wrong.
No, but this was just ridiculously miles out, wasn't it?
Yeah, but if it's that far out, they can't be checking it. They must be just banging it back together and throwing it out the door. Yeah, their excuse probably is oh yeah, we're under pressure, we've got to get it done. Well, do it properly, or don't do it all, just leave it. But a lot of these guys who work in these dealers, well, I'm sorry to say, you need to look for another occupation. Mate, you got to say it as it is, isn't you? You got to say it as it is. They'll be crying when they watch it.
You got to say it as it is. You're in full agreement, though, aren't you?
Absolutely, they're useless.
That's just, yeah, what's it?
I'm not willing to sit on the fence.
No,
I'm getting off.
You got to speak as you find. Well, we're not. What we're saying is not out of order. We're not being, we're not slagging anybody off. We're just telling it as it is, and that is
true facts, don't it?
Very much so. Yeah. So they just couldn't care less anyway. It doesn't really matter, does it? They're bolt on bills, and they for the ones in the dealers. That's it. That's all they are, isn't it? And they can't even do that right.
No, clearly not.
So, yeah, we do pride ourselves. We do rate ourselves, don't we, Mikey?
Yeah, we might take a bit longer or whatever, that and the other, but it's right when it leaves here. Yeah, 100%. So there, just a bit of an educational session for you guys and girls. There we are. You can agree with it, disagree with it, it's no problem. I think it depends if you work for Ford or not, doesn't it? Yeah. If you work for the dealer, you're going to disagree. You are. The rest of the population will be. All you got to do is ask the owners of all the ones. All the ones that we've put right, and see what their take on it is. But that's about it for a minute, Mikey, innit? All right. We'll do another one. We'll get it back together, and then we'll do a finish up video. And it'll be all dandy, yeah. Squared away.
squared away and ready to rock and roll. See you in a bit. Right, Mikey, the conclusion.
Final instalment.
Monday morning, look, we come in. I was here over the weekend, just making sure that this one's all tickety-boo. With the levels, been out and done, put about 50 miles on it, that's all at the moment, just to settle everything in, do a heat cycle. Come back, check, leave the under tray off just to make sure there's no leaks and everything's all good, everything's perfect. You know, the heater's all good and the fans are cutting in and all that sort of stuff. Just normal basic procedures that you do after any sort of like build that you're doing, of course, anything to do with coolant, you're interfering with the coolant and anything like that. So yeah, all good. So we'll fire it up in a second and we'll let you listen to what it should run like, Mikey, yeah? After we've put all the timing in the correct places. Whether it be the crank, the pulleys, the cams, you know.
All of it?
All of it.
Last time I checked, it all had to be right,
It all had to be right. It has to be right and synchronised or else the car won't run properly. Now it runs perfect. We do our test, Paul came out with me and checked all the live data to make sure that it was doing what it was doing with the, you know, the AFRs. You can check all that, and then we were checking all the boost and all that sort of stuff. So everything, it's got Reval Stage 1 on this, by the way, so it behaves itself and does exactly what it says on the tin, as they say, Mikey, in it. And yeah, so we'll fire it up in a second and then go from there. But it's just a bit of a educational video, really, just to explain. We watched the other installments about what this car came in running like, because we have got a little video to insert there, Mikey, and
yeah,
which shows it when I just like sent that to the customer to show him what it was. Well, he knew it was doing anyway, but he wanted me to experience it, which I did, and then sent that to him. So it was, you know, bang on, really. But yeah, that's all done. So we'll fire it up, and then we'll conclude thereafter. We're getting all these technical words, Mikey, aren't we? We're getting
big,
quite professional now, aren't we?
Very.
So, come around here, Mikey. So you can just go in and see the revs there. This is on cold start, look. And then you'll see with your oil pressure up there. There's about 4 bar in it, something like that. So we've put the uprated turbo feed pipe on this as well, which is the one that we created, as opposed to the original Banjo ones, which do leak from the washers to the block once they've been disturbed. But as we discussed before, it's not always the case that it's leaking from there. It's normally somewhere else higher up. But we've changed that to our modified one, which is a different adapter into the top of the turbo, and then you've got your braided line, and it's a different adapter into the block. There we go. And that's off cold start now. What it will do, it will set like at about 900, then depending on engine temp and all that sort of stuff, it will drop down again to about 800. That's it. So that's that side of it, Mikey. And if we come out, it wasn't running like that before, was it?
No, much rougher.
And then before it would intermittently, the revs would just suddenly just jump up and then stick, and then they drop back down again. Then it would be
It was almost like you were activating the aircon,
yeah,
but you weren't touching the aircon.
It would just start hunting, wouldn't it? And that's because the engine timing is key. You have to. It all starts with the engine time. If that's not right, what is the point? In some people are crazy enough to start putting software on cars when the engine's not running right. Why would you do that? You know, that's. I've been asked, by the way, many times, can you put software on this car? No, your car's not running right. A good example was one previous to this, which we'd done. You wanted a Reval Stage 2 performance pack, and it was the same. It wasn't running right, and it was wanted to try and cut out sometimes in sticking on the idle. And he said, "Oh yeah, can you put a Stage 2 on it?" They told me it's all right. I said, "No chance. The car's not running correctly." So we sorted that out first, which was the engine timing and the trigger on that one. And then we put the Reval Stage 2 on it, Mikey, didn't we?
Yeah.
So, but that's it. It's all. That's how it should run. And that's how it ran when it came out of the factory. It didn't come out of the factory running with hunting, running all over the show, did it? It didn't, did it? So it's only since the dealers, whoever master technician.
Hashed it up.
Exactly. Yeah, that's the sort of result you get from, well, sort of workmanship you get, like in it, from the dealer. Got as big as you find, like we said before, innit? People don't like it, tough. But that's the
truth, isn't it?
The truth. That's us being honest. I'm not here to slag anybody off. I'll tell it as it is, and that's what we found. That's what we put right, and it's completely avoidable if you know what you're doing. Or if you don't know what you're doing, refer to the manual. That's all you got to do, Mikey, innit?
Well, yeah.
But then you still got to be. You can refer to the manual, but then you still got to be able to put that into practice.
Yeah, but no one knows how to do it from the start.
No.
You got to learn how to do it.
Of course you have.
And they obviously haven't learned properly.
I've got the workshop manual for this. I don't know everything. Some things I know. I can put these back together. Of course I can. But sometimes I don't know all the torque settings in my head. I have to go and check. It would be crazy to think.
Even if you think you know it, you always check anyway.
You know, I'm like, even if I know what it is, I still go and double check to make sure what it is, and I get you to double check what I've done, and then you can say, yeah, those cams I've set up. Let's just pin it all. You're right. Let's do it again. Yeah, that's right. Let's do it again. You do it. And then I'll check it. We just check each other's work, and then we know it's all bang on, don't we?
Yeah.
Always another pair of eyes.
Blanket.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. So that's that. So like I said, I've already road tested it. Now what I do tend to do as well on a test and road test, I'll go on there, say I'm doing, 60, 70 mile an hour, then I'll just pop it into neutral, and bang, the revs come straight down, bang, straight onto 800. That's another way of testing it to make sure that it's all good. They shouldn't be like stick up and then come down and and all that sort of stuff. They should go bang like that, and so all good. I think that's about it, Mikey, innit? All we've got left to do now is under tray on, but I'm not going to put that on at the moment because I want to take it for another, not today because it's horrible and raining out there, but
lashing it down.
Yeah. I've got to get out in this again, just do one final heat cycle road test, put another 50 odd miles on it. And that's what I normally do, put 100 miles on it, something when I've done the head job. And then the customer, because he lives in, Leicester area, so we need to make sure it's A-okay. But there's only so much testing we can do, Mikey, if we're happy with it, 100%.
Yeah, you can't drive it around for weeks, can you?
No, of course you can't, no.
I think 100 miles is a fair...
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it's not like a bottom build. Bottom build, I do 1,000 miles because it's all bottom end. 500 miles on running in all, 500 miles on the 040 Castro edge. Not on this app. Don't need to do that on this. Just to,
the 100
here,
miles basically, you're just checking for leaks, aren't we, and making sure the level's set right
exactly,
and
make sure that it's
properly.
running correctly. Yeah, and checking all the parameters and all that sort of stuff. Obviously, the other thing you can see, people wondering what all these little marks. That's paint marks. So we've all got different colour pens, and we paint mark everything that's applicable. So as far as my way of looking at it is, if it's not paint marked, it's not tight. So the guys know that myself and them, when you tighten something up, paint mark it, because then if you do get disturbed and you go back to it, oh yeah, I know that's tight because I paint marked it, because it's easy to get distracted. So and some of it's really important that you're doing up here. So everything's paint marked, so we know it's all, and it's all like, that's like from racing pedigree really. That's what all the race teams, everything's marked. All right, so simple thing to do, but very effective. That's it. We don't need to be gabbling on anymore, do we?
Not on a Monday morning.
Job done. MOT's all done. I've done that. Service is all done, obviously, because we've done that side of it. And then what I'll get the customer to do then is do a couple of oil and filter changes per year. Doesn't matter, regardless of mileage that you're doing, do 2 of them. We use a Forte Pro engine flush, which is always good. You don't want to be putting dirty engine oil, clean oil into a dirty engine, do you? That's not good. And then we have various other additives which we always use, might be in it. Yeah. So that's about it. Nothing more to say. Apart from like, subscribe, hit that bell notification button, comments down below if you feel you need to. And we'll catch up with you very soon for another one. Ciao for now.